just talked with Julian, and he said he's already reached out to you and your agent. Is there a bit of a relief that something that there's going to be progress here towards the deal?
Yeah. I had a short conversation with him after the game, and like you just said, he reached out to my agent. So that's all that we have right now. But for sure, hopefully there's some discussions, and you got to start somewhere. So looking forward to that.
Are you confident the deal will get done?
It's tough to answer when we haven't even had a discussion yet. So we'll have to have those discussions. But I'm certainly, like I said, excited that we're going to have those hopefully soon, and then we can go from there.
How were you able to push that aside during the season? I know you've had experience doing it, but you obviously had some frustration in training camp. There wasn't any talk. So how do you push that aside from a personal standpoint?
Yeah, when you don't have control of the situation, I think it's, you just have to come to terms with that. And for sure, there were times throughout the year that you think about those things and in private conversations with friends and family and mentors and things like that. But for me, I tried to leave that at home. And when I came to the rink, it, never crossed my mind. It was just go out there and play and try to help our team just like I've always done. And that was something that, I told Julian at the beginning of the year when we said that, okay, there was going to be no contract talks, that, you won't have to worry about that affecting how I prepare or how I play or that coming into the locker room. So I said what I needed to say at the beginning of the year, and that was kind of it.
Was it maybe a little easier to put it aside because your leadership hat expanded without Killorn being here and Pat Maroon being here? Julian talked about your leadership just kind of expanding without those other voices in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is. We have lost some amazing leaders throughout the last couple of years, and being a leader on this team, it's not just one guy. It's never been just one guy. It's been collectively as a group, and it just gave an opportunity for other guys to step up. And some guys are a little more comfortable in that regard than others, and some it's going to take a little more time for them to feel confident about certain leadership situations. But for me, I don't think it changed too much. I mean, I've tried to just be myself throughout every season that I've been captain, and you certainly learn different things along the way, and I'll continue to learn.
As the guys say goodbye to each other for the summer, are they in your ear saying you're coming back, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen. It's still pretty fresh. We're gonna get together as a team in the next couple days, like we always do at the end of the year. It sucks when you're not celebrating with the Stanley Cup, but there's certainly still things to be proud of from this season. And listen, the guys have been since day one. We haven't really talked about that scenario happening, so hopefully that's not the case.
This season, midway through, it was kind of 50-50 pushing into the playoffs, and then you went on a run that maybe a lot saw coming, especially March. What changed within the group, aside from technically on the ice, but what was maybe said that you can share with us, or what was the mentality that changed?
Yeah, I don't know if there's an exact moment, but I know there was some discussions throughout the organization that, especially the guys that have been here for the Stanley Cup runs, that we just needed better. And sometimes it's not always fun to hear, but you do have to take a look in the mirror sometimes and say, okay, we need to just play better. And the players that were here, myself included, needed to play better. And I think we did. We responded well to that. And that's always good when things aren't going right and there's some adverse times, whether it's just tough luck, bad play, injuries. There's no excuses at this level in the NHL. You're going to dig deep and go on a run and make the playoffs, or you're not. And that's why I am proud of the guys for the way we responded to that. And I think it was a little bit of, probably weren't playing up to our potential at the beginning of the year. Some some tough luck in the injury department. But I think down the stretch, we played some, much better hockey, and that's what led us back into the playoffs for sure.
The last two postseasons, it's such a thin margin in this game. Does it still kind of reflect on the successes that you have had and the runs that you have had and appreciate those maybe a little bit more?
Well, you do appreciate those because you realize how, like you said, how close it is really between, a first round exit and a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. And I know we talked about it even when we went to the finals for the third straight year, Game 7 against Toronto. You're either out or you got a chance to move on. And when you do have a chance to move on, that's when the ball gets rolling and the confidence gets there and you can go on a run. And that's just the margin of error in our league. That's how close it is. And that's why, when you reflect on the season after you lose, it's I wish we could have done that, or that should have been better, or it's too late at that point. And that's the frustrating part, because I think our group, even the way we played the last 2-3 games of that series, I thought, if only we came out that way, maybe the first or second game, or you look back and just that urgency, that passion that we played with. And yeah, we didn't, maybe get the bounces or the calls that we wish we could have. But we had gotten some of those bounces in years previous, and it's just that close. And that's why it is frustrating when you don't win, because it's still there. That's a really, really good team, Cup favorite team in Florida before the playoffs started. And like I said, you tip your cap to them because they found a way. But I do believe that we could have won that series.
Do you still believe that this core has got the ability to win another cup?
Oh, for sure. I think the window is certainly open when you have some of the premier players at every position. You look at all the teams that have won the cup in the last 5 years. You talk about, really good defensemen, an elite goalie, elite forwards. We have all that. You need complementary pieces for sure, and you need some depth. And looking back, I thought guys that needed to step up, especially during that stretch of trying to get in the playoffs, did, and guys are going to continue to grow. I mean, you look at, Hagel, and you look at Paul and those guys and the roles that they've come into this team. You look at the back end, how many guys played their first NHL game this year, and the goaltending situation. Joe carried us those first, 20 games before Vasi came back. So there is a lot of things that I think as you progress, guys gained a lot from this year too, and that's what allows that to keep that window open too.
The network cameras stayed on you at the very end of the game against Florida. You were last to leave the ice for the Wolves. What was kind of going through your mind?
Nothing. I mean, when you lose in the playoffs, I just wanted to wait for everyone to get off the ice. Wanted to congratulate our team individually as they went off the ice, as a lot of captains do in the league. Obviously, I was pissed off we lost, but I wouldn't read anything into me doing that, for any other reason than wanting to just, wait for all of our players to leave the ice, and that was it.
Steven, the last time you were playing free agency, you talked about unfinished business, and that's why you wanted to stay and bring a cup here. You got two, and you're starting a family here. As you enter this summer, what's important to you, looking, going towards the next contract in terms of where you want to be, or what's important in the factors you're going to have into play when you decide what you want to do?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, winning is still what fuels me. Being a big part of that culture fuels me, and obviously certain things have changed now. I have an amazing young family that has put roots down in this city and really enjoy living here and playing here. So, from that perspective, the decision is more than just me now, and that's something that is amazing for me to be able to have that and be in that situation. So there's different factors than there were last time, but nothing's really changed in terms of, my mindset and where I wanted to be and play, and that was here. So that certainly hasn't changed.
Going off of that, just what does this city mean to you?
Oh, this city means a lot. I mean, geez, that was my 16th season here. So, I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. Certainly doesn't feel that way from a physical or mental perspective, because I still love coming to the rink every day, and I love interacting with the fans and just everything that is hockey in this city is amazing, and I love it, and everyone's been great to me and my family over the years. And to start something from where we were my first year to where we are now, it's almost night and day in terms of what this city and hockey mean to each other. So it's been fun to be part of that, and to see it all the way through. And like I said, hopefully more.
Is there, you look at guys like Sakic and Eisman growing up, and they played for one franchise or a little way. Is that something special to you, or something that's meaningful to you, to be able to do that, start and finish with one team?
For sure, I've talked about it before. So my perspective hasn't changed. I'm hopeful that something obviously works out here, because I do love it here, and I still think that we have a chance to win with the group of guys that we have here. So we'll see what's in store in the next couple of weeks, but my philosophy hasn't changed.
You're wanting to win. You've seen what Tom Brady did. He took a lower salary to try to put a winning team together. Is that part of your thought process as well?
I think that's been a part of everyone's thought process in the core group of guys that we've had here, in terms of what guys have taken over the years to stay here. I mean, I understand that, the tax advantage and that type of thing, but, Cooch is making 9.5. That's probably grossly underpaid in terms of what guys are getting now. Vasi, Pointer, 40, 50 goals every year. You look at, Matthews, what he signed for, 13.5 or something. Like, Hetty's making under $8 million. That's a grossly underpaid in terms of, if you look at what he's done. I mean, that's what everyone's done here, and that's why we've had the success, and that's just been the way it's been for this organization. And then I think that in itself is a testament to management and how they want to build a team, and first and foremost the players for wanting to do that and accept that and allow the management to go out there and build a roster to compete for the Stanley Cup. So I think that's just always been the way it's been here.
You mentioned Hedman, you go long way back with him, obviously. Julie wants to resign him as well. Like, you say about how he's evolved as a defenseman, later taking his career, really elevated his game second half of the season, especially.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's been a premier defenseman in this league for a really long time. I mean, there's not many that have the combination of size and skill that Hetty has, that have the ability to play at both ends of the ice like Hetty has, and to just be a horse out there. I mean, he's one of a kind in terms of the skill set and the size and the reach and the abilities that he has. So, listen, obviously we all get older, and things change, but you adapt and you find ways to be successful. And I mean, listen, if you didn't know how old Hetty was, you'd still think he's 27, 28. Like, just the way he plays and the minutes that he plays and the shape that he's in. I mean, it's remarkable to watch.
Half the league has changed coaches since last year. Like, what makes Cooper a guy who message doesn't really kind of run dry?
Well, I think, success plays a big part in that. As a player, as a coach, if you have success, it usually means your job is going to be safe. But Coop he just knows he knows when to push, and he knows when to back off, and he has the respect for each player, but he lets the team a lot of the time dictate how things are going to go. And he has such a good pulse on that. And certainly there's times where we need a kick in the butt, and he's there, but he's not a guy, he's not a yeller or a screamer. He's calculated, and he knows how to read the room. And listen, Coop and I have been together for a long time, and you see the mutual respect and the maturity of, as a coach and as a player and as a captain, as a leader, kind of come together as we've gotten older. And, you learn which things work, which things don't, and just Coop just has an overall read of exactly what needs to be said and done at the right time. And that's why I don't think it does get old, because we know the expectation when we come to the rink every day of what he expects. And I think he trusts that, in certain situations we can manage ourselves and know what to expect.
Stammer, one thing Julian talked about was really his goal this offseason was figure out how to keep the 5-on-5 goals against down. And I understand I'm kind of asking you to put on a hat that thinking about next year with you here, but I'm going to ask you to put on that hat. In your experience, how tough of a nut is that to crack? You played on teams that have been great defensively 5-on-5.
Yeah. You need a complete buy-in for sure from everybody, forwards included. Obviously, the game plan, we tweaked a few things in the defensive zone this year. And I think it took us a little bit to get comfortable with that. But then it's just, it comes down to the players. We got to go out there and execute the game plan. The coaches can give us any game plan they want. We have to execute that. And I think there's certain areas that we could get better at. Players, younger players that had a lot of play this year are going to get better. They're going to get more confident. There was a lot of kind of turnover on the back end. And when you lose a Sergachev for that much time, that's not an easy guy to replace. You can't replace him. You have to do it collectively as a group. And I think, especially on the back end, some of the guys that got a chance to play prolonged games and minutes and playoff games for us this year, they're just going to continue to grow from that and that experience, and they're going to get better. And then, as a forward group, I think you look back to the identity of the teams and why we won it. It always wasn't the high-flying Lightning. It was, we played a solid 5-on-5 game, and special teams was good too. And I think that's the recipe come playoff time. And I don't think it was. I thought we played some solid hockey in the playoffs, and when the game was on the line. But there's just certain situations where some guys just hadn't been in before, especially on the back end, and they have that small experience now.